Welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, October 23rd, 2015. I'm Lafern Fraser with the details. Local entrepreneur and energy consultant Herbert Has-Samuel believes that the key to a successful nation must be in its ability to effectively govern itself. Delivering this year's UE Independence Lecture under the theme Independence, a 21st Century Toolkit for the Caribbean, Samuel highlighted the importance of citizens becoming shapers and not just consumers of technology.
The struggle for independence continues in the Caribbean, but the struggle is latent. We are in it perhaps without fully recognizing it. Our 21st century struggle is to attain economic independence, and to do so, we must do three broad things concurrently. One, we must improve practical aspects of our political independence. Two, we must be aware that the primary catalyst in the arena of economic independence in this 21st century is what I want to call intelligent technology, IT. But we have no practical control over how this IT develops. So our main tool must be innovation around this IT. That is, the creation and adoption of new business models and approaches that allow us not simply to consume this IT, but to shape and utilize it for our collective benefit.
Making reference to the book Why Nations Fail, Samuel also pointed out the division which could be created in society when incentives are being given to an exclusive elite few and not everyone.
And their findings are fascinating, and they can be summarized quite simply. They found that the success or failure of nations does not and did not depend on their endowments of natural resources or on their socio-cultural heritage or on their geographic characteristics. No, their economic success or failure depended on whether or not they had inclusive political institutions that were designed, organized, and operated for the benefit of their societies as a whole.
Samuel made the contrast of the governance styles of both North and South Korea and emphasized the importance of giving citizens the opportunity to participate in their own development.
The leaders of South Korea, they chose to forge a society that created incentives, rewarded innovation, and allowed everyone to participate in economic opportunities. The economic success that spurred was sustained because the government became accountable and responsive to its citizens. On the other hand, at the opposite end of the spectrum, the unfortunate people of the North have endured decades of famine, political repression, and very different economic prospects because their very small ruling elite had constructed a system in which political power was narrowly concentrated and organized for its own benefit at the expense of the vast majority of people. In short, what South Korea did was to govern well.
And head of the University of the West Indies, or UE Open Campus St. Vincent, Deborah Dalrymple, said the educational institution will continue its mission to be a visible manifestation of scholarly discourse and the arts. Dalrymple was at the time introducing Samuel at last evening's lecture held at the Methodist Church Hall Community Building. She says that Samuel, who has worked at home and abroad, has used his skill sets to improve lives. She praised him for being an example of excellence. The UE Open Campus head encouraged other persons to continue to pursue their dreams through education and to share their knowledge with others.
We have to be seen as a center for scholarly discourse and also as a hub for dissemination of the arts and other cultural activities. We adhere to the philosophy of lifelong learning, of second chances, and fulfillment of dreams of university training. We also reach out to young school leavers to start here at the Open Campus and go anywhere. Research has shown that the Open Campus across the region has a retention rate of over 80%. It means that the majority of our students stay the course and graduate. I think that the fact that we are not only online, but we are also on site and on demand impacts the statistic in a very meaningful way. The community needs to feel the university's presence. The site has responded to community requests for continuing and professional education, and we have been partnering with community members by forming committees for our major events.
A tight race has been predicted for this country's upcoming general elections. In an interview with CMC News, Director of the Caribbean Research Services, or CADRIS, Peter Wickham, says neither of the main political parties here, the ruling Unity Labour Party nor the opposition New Democratic Party, can be confident of victory. The regional pollster gave CMC an insight into a poll he conducted here, the result of which he said the client doesn't want made public, indicates that it is not going to be a runaway election for either party, and both sides will have a battle on their hands.
The polls are definitely showing a tight race. I can tell you that the popularity of the current Prime Minister exceeds that of the popularity of the leader of the opposition, which is a common feature of polls in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And then St. Vincent and the Grenadines has several small constituencies in which you can have a narrow victory and then you can have an increased number of seats. That is entirely possible. But at the same time, I'm more comfortable with the expression that it's going to be a tight election in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and it will be one that we across the region will closely watch.
Wickham added that some of the Vincentian electorate have been speaking about change, and that even the ruling Unity Labour Party, or the ULP, has acknowledged this, saying that it represents that change. And Public Relations Officer of the opposition New Democratic Party, or the NDP, Vinod Frederick, says there is every indication that the ruling Unity Labour Party's own polls show that it is losing the upcoming general elections. Hence, it has refused to release the results of the one recently conducted by the Barbados-based CADRIS. Frederick says that their own findings show the people of SVG are fed up with the ULP administration and are ready to opt for the policy platform of the NDP. The NDP PRO further states that though Wickham's prediction is that it is going to be a tight race, what is significant is that he could not say the ULP, who he conducted the polls for, would win the election. Frederick is of the view that if the findings of the poll had shown that the ULP was winning, they would have been quick to release it. The General Secretary of the ULP, Julian Francis, has indicated to another media outlet here that the findings of the poll are for the party's internal consumption. In the 2010 general elections, the ULP gained 8 of the 15 electoral seats, while the NDP captured 7. General elections is widely predicted to be held later this year. The police have launched an investigation into the death of Paul Liverpool, who lost his life when his motorcycle ran off the road this morning on the Grenadine island of Bequia. According to the police, a preliminary investigation shows that Liverpool, a 37-year-old man who originated from Georgetown but resided at Paget Farm, was driving a motorcycle along the Friendship Bay Public Road at approximately 7 a.m. when he lost control and collided with a coconut tree. Liverpool, who plied his trade as a heavy equipment operator, died on the spot. A post-mortem examination will be carried out on the body of the deceased. There have been 11 road accidents this year, which resulted in deaths of 19 persons. And in court news, Joyce Bob, a resident of Richland Park, counted her lucky stars on Thursday, October 22nd, 2015, after she was freed on a charge of murder. But her common-law husband, Wilfred Davis, was not that fortunate, as his charge was reduced to manslaughter. This came at the conclusion of a preliminary inquiry which looked into the circumstances that caused the death of Alwyn Spanner Jack of the same address on May 28th this year. At the end of the inquiry, lawyer K. Bacchus Gill, who represented both accused, submitted to the court that while Bob was at home at the time of the incident, she did not participate in the altercation between her common-law husband and the deceased. She also told that court that during the altercation, Davis received a stab wound on the left side of his chest from Jack, and it was during such time Jack received the fatal wound to his throat, resulting in his death. Davis is committed to stand trial at the next practical sitting of the criminal session before a judge and jury. He is, however, currently on bail. And in other court news, Kevon Williams, a 17-year-old resident of Richland Park, is presently facing a charge of wounding with intent. He is accused of inflicting stab wounds to the chest of David Bennett of Kingstown Park and Vermont on October 5th, 2015, in the area of the meat market. As a result, Bennett was a patient at the Milton Cato Surgical Ward for several weeks. Williams appeared at the Serious Offences Court on Friday, October 23, 2015, facing the charge to which he was not allowed to plead. The matter has been adjourned to December 10th this year, when the preliminary inquiry is expected to begin. In more local news, the youths of SVG were today reminded that to live in a democratic country whose activities are marked by peace, freedom and stability is not to be underestimated or taken for granted. This comes from Chief Education Officer Luann Gilchrist, who was speaking at the annual Schools Independence Rally at the Victoria Park. The event was held this year under the theme Working Together to Enhance National Pride. Gilchrist advised the youths from the various schools present to never take SVG's status of independence for granted, but to strive assiduously to live up to the ideals of the nation.
Let us therefore celebrate together the achievements of our small island nation, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. 36 years of independence. It is no small accomplishment. Some might say that we have not made any progress since 1979. Those are the people who are not doing their research, who do not have historical memory. Children, young people, please know that most of you born into an independent state. So you might take your status of independence for granted. Do not ever do this, but strive assiduously to live up to the ideals of our nation. Our motto says, peace and justice. Peace and justice are elements of a stable society, a stable country. We already have that stability, therefore we need to maintain the peace and the justice to ensure that we all live together in harmony.
The Chief Education Officer further noted that each child has a role to play in maintaining the peace and justice in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as well as the national development of the country. Gilchrist says that when Vincentians choose to live in harmony, the country will be able to occupy its rightful place regionally and internationally.
I am sure that on the coat of arms, the motto peace and justice was not chosen at random, but that it was chosen bearing in mind all that we needed to have to make sure that our country is stable, that our country is a haven of peace, a haven of tranquility, a haven of beauty. So let us work together to enhance national pride as we look after one another, we show good neighborliness, we respect the rights of others, and that we be responsible in every aspect of our lives. That means that we must be aware of all of the changes that are taking place in our country, most notably when it comes to climate change.
She also emphasized the importance of maintaining a clean environment and urged the youths to practice demonstrating more national pride.
You feel how hot it is? 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I'm sure that the temperature was not this high at this time of year. So please bear in mind all of these factors that might seem unimportant but really are of significant importance. And remember that even this, the sitting, standing at attention, singing our national anthem, refusing to litter, respecting our national symbols, all of these are elements which contribute to our national pride. So students, I enjoin you to sing lustily our national anthem, sing it with pride. Say our pledge with your chests puffed out, because you live in a country of peace, a country where justice reigns. So let us all live up to the ideals of our nation. Let us all continue to strive together to enhance national pride and to build St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
And this country's first female Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, Gerlin Miguel, told the gathering that this year's theme should resonate with all Vincentians regardless of ethnicity, social class, or political affiliation. Miguel further urged parents, guardians, and teachers to demand that students behave in a dignified manner and to be conscious of self and others.
Affiliation. For national pride speaks to what we as a collective can do to ensure that our nation is a better place for us nationals and visitors alike. Working together to enhance national pride requires us as teachers and parents to demand that our students behave in a dignified manner, show respect for self and peers, for those in authority, as well as for the property of others. We should not allow all our gains as a small growing nation after 36 years of rebirth to be evaporated by a growing trend of lawlessness where furniture, equipment, and school buildings are destroyed by students. I am convinced that valuable resources would be lost should such attitude and trends continue. We must work together to ensure that we preserve St. Vincent, land so beautiful, as we pledge our loyalty and vow to keep her ever free.
At the school's independence rally, Minister with responsibility for youth and national mobilization, Frederick Stevenson, took the opportunity to remember the students, the Rock Gutter 7, who died tragically in a motor vehicular accident on January 12th this year. According to Stevenson, they will be remembered for their valuable contribution to nation building, even though their lives were cut short.
The happy 36th year of independence, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I want us, first of all, to remember the students of Rock Gutter who would have been with us here this morning, but we remember the tragedy that occurred in January. I want us to remember young Kunja Brown, 9 years old, student of the Lodge Village Secondary School and resident of Redemption Shops, Lodge Village Primary School, yes, who lost his life just a few days ago, and who too would have been here. Are the students from Lodge Village Primary School here? The students from Lodge Village? We remember all of them in our prayers, and we thank God for their lives and the contributions that they have made to the development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Whatever the future brings, our faith will see us through.
At today's event, the students who excelled in the 2015 Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examinations, or CAPE, were recognized. 12 national scholarships were announced, as well as 5 exhibitions and 14 bursaries, a total of 31 awardees. This country's top performer in the 2015 CAPE exams, Kyle James, was awarded a fully funded 5-year national scholarship, along with the Prime Minister's award of $10,000 and a gold medal. In her featured address, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, Gerlin Miguel, urged students to take their education seriously as she applauded the hard work of the awardees. She further emphasized her interpretation of this year's independence theme, working together to enhance national pride, by signifying how Vincentians can work together as a nation to improve educational success.
Let me hasten to remind you that these shining stars did not do it alone. I am sure that they will be the first to tell you of their support systems, their parents, their teachers, and friends in shaping their success stories. In short, it took a combination of persons working together to achieve a national goal.
Persons in attendance at this year's rally were entertained by performances from students representing various schools across SVG. Here are some of the highlights.
Independence is a milestone. Join us now in our march to prosperity and freedom's throne. Share the support the 27th dawn of October. Our nation is born. One is free, one ecstasy, one destiny for all of we. Hey, 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 hey. Oh, na, 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 oh, na,
Little island, St. Vincent. I love you, St. Vincent, the home of the blessed St. Vincent. St. Vincent, Vincent.